Remarriage and blending a family isn't easy.
But with the right tools, it can be beautiful. Hey guys, welcome to Remarried Love, the best new relationship podcast for everyday men and women who desire to be married again. If this is your first time listening to the show, welcome. We're your hosts, Dee
and Aki.
And we're going to have candid, heartfelt conversations about the journey to a healthy remarriage.
We are so glad you're here. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about the 3 things to improve your remarriage and ultimately your blended family if that's where you're at. In the last 2 episodes, we spoke about the 3 things to avoid in your remarriage. And we were going through those topics. So today we're going to kind of show how we can improve. And just as a recap, what were some of the things we talked about in the last ones?
Part 1, we said avoid putting your child's financial responsibilities on your new spouse.
Yes.
Avoid forcing instant bonds and avoid loyalty conflicts between your spouse and your biological kids.
Right. That was in part 1. And so in part 2, we were talking about
avoid ignoring discipline.
Yeah.
Avoid comparing your children. And avoid skipping couple unity.
And all those things are so important to identify in your family. And now we're going to talk about things that can really improve your remarriage, which is ultimately what we want to do.
So blending a family isn't easy, but it is possible.
Yeah. And with the right tools, it can be easier. And sometimes when you're remarried and it's new, you think that, hey, it shouldn't be this hard. It's a fresh start. It's something new. But there can be instances where it's a lot. It can be overwhelming. And that's why we're here. That's why we wanted to share our experiences with you. And if it's your first time here, we just want to share that Dee and I really understand where you're coming from. We both are children of divorced parents.
Yeah, children of divorced parents.
Then our parents,
they both got divorces and then they remarried.
They both
sets remarried.
And we had stepbrothers and sisters. We grew up like that.
In a blended family.
And then we became adults and we were married.
To different people.
And then we got a divorce. We went through that.
Yeah, our own divorces.
And we also, in that process, we were step parents. We understand that. Then we are remarried
to each other now.
Yeah. And then we blended our families. And
we also have our own biological children.
And then we have our own biological children. So we understand some of the, what would you call, like the
dynamics,
the nuances of blended family and remarriage, dealing with all these different inputs from people.
From different aspects.
Yeah. And different stages.
And we can speak as children and as adults in both the marriage part of it and also the blended family part of it.
Right. So we're just here for you as somebody to bounce things off of. We want to tell you what sometimes people might not want to share with you. And the reason why they might not want to share any advice or share anything is because they don't understand fully, what you're going through.
Yeah. Some people, they know about marriage without a divorce and they can give you marital advice, but not that many people can give you divorce and then remarital advice.
Yeah, because they're not dealing with a third party like an ex or ex-in-laws.
Yes.
Also, they may not have an understanding of the pressure and the responsibilities of co-parenting.
Or the way you feel after you've gone through a divorce.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may not feel as well as you would like to feel after a divorce.
Right. And that may cause people not wanting to say anything. They may feel that, you're in a state of defensiveness, or they may feel like you're too sensitive, so they don't say anything. And sometimes that can make us kind of feel like we're in a bubble and isolated and by ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
but you're not by yourself.
No.
And we want you to know that this is a safe space for you.
Right.
And we want you to know that we do understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. So we wanted to just kind of get that out before we go into the 3 things to improve your blended family.
Yeah. So the first thing we want to talk about today is strengthen communication and unity.
Yeah. And strengthening your communication is what leads to unity. If you are not a strong communicator, this is an area that you want to get help in, because unresolved issues
From your past?
from the past, or issues that are arising from the remarriage dynamic, and you leave it in, you hold it in and fester, it's not good for a remarriage, and it's definitely not good for a blended family. So that's one thing that we want you to consider in improving is your communication.
Well, sometimes the way people communicate is because of the situations that happened prior to their remarriage, meaning that maybe they were talking to someone who didn't communicate as well, or they didn't communicate as well, and there was a lot of arguments, there was a lot of division, or anything that just it didn't make a person feel good or have a happy household. So now you're wanting to establish good habits in your new relationship so that you can have peace in your home.
That's a good point, because sometimes when you are at the end of a relationship, you can shut down, get petty, you can participate in bad communication styles, yelling, like you were saying. And so you've been single for a while, resingled, and now you're getting married again. And maybe the only communication styles that you're remembering or that's coming up is the old ones.
And those are basically triggers. Those are things that, like you just said, they happened in your previous relationship, and now they're kind of popping up like weeds in your new relationship. And that's something you want to cut down, and actually you want to pull them out and get rid of them.
And it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. One of the things that we talk about too is becoming more emotionally mature.
Yes.
And that plays a big part in your healing, and then you're moving forward.
Something that we had to do was begin to talk about us as one couple. Like, it's not just me as a man in my relationship, that's my wife over there, and her husband's over here. We are doing this together. We started changing the way we communicated with each other and started talking in terms of we and ours.
Yeah, instead of mine, yours, I, you. And that was hard. That did take a level of emotional maturity, and it took a new level of communication.
Yeah.
We had to really look at ourselves to see, had we healed to the point where resentment wasn't still in our heart?
Yeah, I mean, resentment is something that happens slowly and kind of like under the radar.
Yes. And it feels like disappointment, can feel like anger, bitterness. You hold on to it when you feel like you have been wronged.
Yeah.
And even if your new spouse isn't the source of resentment, you might not know that it's still lingering in there until you're married again.
Yeah. And like I said, it's like one of those weeds that just pops its ugly head up. You don't know it until something happens, and then it just sparks, and you wonder why you're flying off the handle so quick, or you just don't have the patience you thought you should have had. And you do love this person, but you're like, man, why did I do that? Why am I feeling this way? It's because of resentment towards whatever happened in your past.
You may be having resentment for your spouse. You can have resentment for your stepkids. You can have resentment for your co-parenting ex-spouse. You can have resentment for, other people as well.
Yeah.
Unexpressed anger that is kind of festering because you're not communicating it. And if that is something that you're dealing with, therapy is a good choice to relieve that anger and to express it. So just doing mindful things, meditation, you can try. There's lots of different things. For us, we were already in like couples therapy before we even got married.
Yeah, we started doing counseling with another couple who have been divorced and then remarried.
Who was also remarried.
Yeah, and so that really helped us out.
Yeah, they gave us a lot of insight, and that unified front that we were talking about, strengthening your communication and beginning to unify, was something we had to work on even, before the marriage. Because for me personally, I just couldn't see how I could be ours in every aspect, like especially in our bank accounts.
Yeah, it took you a minute to get used to the money
situation.
coming together with the money.
Coming together. And it really wasn't about both of us having access to it. It was just more that I just wanted to hold on to it. That was the one thing I felt that was violated. You may be in a situation where you felt your heart was violated. You might have felt like your home was violated.
And the thing about it is that it could be perceived or actual violation.
Yeah. And whatever it is that you're feeling, you may hold on to that tightly. And that may be the one area that you don't want to unify with your new spouse.
Or you feel like you want to control.
Yeah.
And
that
so
too.
it could actually cause resentment from you or your new spouse if you don't get that under control.
And the reason why it's so important to deal with this is because resentment and bitterness actually hinders forgiveness, and it hinders connection. You've probably heard us mention this before. Both Dee and I have been through divorces, and now we're 15 years strong in our remarriage journey. So trust us when we say we get it when starting over and building a new life together. If you're ready to reclaim your power in love, life, and money, I wrote Power Over All just for you. It's real, it's encouraging, and it's meant to walk with you as you heal and grow. There's also a companion journal to help you track your progress and reflect all year long. Grab your copy today and step fully into the power God already gave you. Links in the description. Now let's get back to the episode.
Yes.
And why it hinders forgiveness is because you feel that you're justified sometimes. You might feel unheard or inadequate. You just start kind of internalizing things that make it hard to give forgiveness to even others that may have hurt you, but they didn't mean to. Another thing is that resentment can hinder connection, and you need that, especially in a remarriage and a blended family.
Yes. You know, it's all about building those bonds. Everybody has to build a bond with another person in a blended family and in your remarriage.
Yeah. One thing also, if you all take time, you and your spouse, to just have a moment to speak about how you're feeling about things weekly or bi-weekly.
You can just pick a day for your family and your relationship that best suits you guys. And it's like, this is the day we're going to talk about our relationship. And it's not like a therapy session, because guys are just looking at it like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to go down that.
It's not the therapy. It's the communication.
It's communication, but in a good way. And it's for your relationship. You both have a voice for your relationship, and it's going to help you. You
want to check in.
Yeah, you want to be a part of this. And so I'm talking to the guys right now, because I can already hear one guy saying, I don't really want to talk. You know, I don't really want to say all this stuff and my feelings and what I'm thinking about today. I really don't care. You know, it's nothing big. It's nothing that's going on in my life like that. But the thing about it, guy, is that it's going to really help you. It's going to help your relationship.
You know, that's interesting that you said that, because I remember when we would sit down and talk about things, I felt like you didn't necessarily share the things like I did, like how I was feeling, but you did speak over our relationship.
Yeah.
And sometimes those words were healing. They gave me some type of security. So you weren't necessarily saying, well, you know, this is how I feel about this, and this is what happened to me. You kind of expressed yourself in those conversations by speaking life into our new, relationship, and how we're doing a new thing, and how this is going to be our home and our way of doing things. So I would just say to the men that these communication sessions aren't just both of you kind of griping or going at each other.
Well, definitely don't want to do that, because I don't know if that's really going to help the situation.
Right. It's more like a status check-in.
Yeah.
Not status check-in.
Well, it can be a status check-in.
Yeah, like, where are we?
Yeah, where are we at? Or more importantly, where are you when it comes to us? How
do you feel?
Yeah, I want to know how you feel regarding this relationship, because I don't want any surprises.
And I had to even work on the we, on who I was talking about, because sometimes I would use we, meaning me and my ex.
Yeah, you did do that. And I was wondering when it was going to stop.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, we used to. And I'm thinking,
well, I wasn't there, and I knew I wasn't there.
Right. Who am I talking about?
Who's the we? So we can talk about we and ours, but it has to be the right two we and
Oh,
ours.
yes. And be gentle with each other.
And have grace.
Yeah, I think that's why those check-ins, weekly check-ins or monthly check-ins are great, because sometimes you can do things by habit and you don't even realize you're saying these things, you're speaking like that, and your spouse hears those, they're internalizing those words.
Yeah.
Whether you meant it this way or that way.
Well, a person might think, do you still love this person? I look at marriages, and some people have been married for 20 years, 15 years, 5 years. And it takes time to break old habits.
Yeah.
If we're going to be real with each other.
Especially if you are widowed and you've been married for a long time to the love of your life. And the only reason why that union ended was because of death. And so now you're wanting a new life with someone else, and someone wants a new life with you.
Yeah.
And so it is important to understand your communication and grow to one, really.
Well, you have to talk about it and learn the other person. So you have to have certain types of communication and time to really let it set into you so that you know who you're talking to and you know what they like, what they don't like, and realize that you're not talking to the other person you may have talked to for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, but now you're talking to a new person that has to get to know you and you are getting to know them.
Yeah, it's a process. We believe in a remarriage. Emotional maturity is probably one of the most important foundation that you can have.
Yeah, you have to grow
Yeah.
in your remarriage.
You
And
have to grow as a person.
as a person. So that's definitely a big part of it, because when you're talking to someone, you got to know that some conversations are hard conversations. And when you're remarried, you're going to have a lot of hard conversations. You're going to talk from A to Z about every subject of your remarriage.
Right.
If you want to have a successful remarriage, because you want it to grow in every area. So you have to talk about every area. You can't just assume that it's going to be automatic.
Or that it's going to work itself out, because remarriage relationships and hearts have been through something.
Yeah, some hurts and some pains.
Yeah, they've been through something different than what happened in your first marriage. Depending on if there was a divorce, there has been a breakdown of trust. There may have been
it's disappointment. I think no matter what the situation was, you were disappointed about something, and that's what led to a divorce.
And usually in your first marriage or an initial marriage, you may not have that disappointment so deep.
Yes.
Going into a marriage. You don't have that scar or the hardness of your heart that needs to heal. So that is why it is so important. We keep saying it, and people may think, well, it's not that big of a deal. But it is.
It is really a big deal.
It really is a big deal.
Anything that you've gone through and haven't healed from is a big deal, because it's going to come back up.
You want to take time to communicate. Any communication style that is not effective in your relationship, you want to learn new ones, learn new ways to communicate, new methods to make sure your spouse understands and hears you, and you also understand them, and that there is a respect that you two both know, hey, we are trying to work this out. And so we're going to give each other that respect.
If you both respect each other, then that is half the battle in your relationship and in the blended family part of your new marriage. Because having respect for each other means that you're going to be on a united front when you're having to address other issues. I want to stop for a second and just say, it's not just about one person talking and the other person's listening to what the other person's saying. You both have something to say about it. The man does, the woman does, and then you come as a united front to the children and you talk to them about it. You want to be able to be that united front so that when you talk to others in the home, they know that you guys have had your conversations together.
When you have communicated with each other as husband and wife, you can come to the kids, if you're in a blended family,
in a unified front.
In a united front. You're going to need that.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing we want to share with improving your remarriage is strengthening your communication and unity.
So the second thing we want to talk about is to build consistent discipline and boundaries.
Now, we spoke about this in
part 2.
Yeah, in part 2 of what to avoid. And we were basically talking about consistent discipline with the children. But now we want to kind of expand that to boundaries. And boundaries aren't just for children in blended family. Boundaries are surrounding you and your spouse to provide a covering for the two of you, because you still have outside input, maybe from your ex, in-laws, family, friends, and this is important to have an understanding of what your boundaries are.
Yeah, I like the fact that you said boundaries are there not to hurt you, but to help your remarriage. They're there to protect it, to give it a covering.
Yeah, because when you can kind of feel exposed when you're in a remarriage, that maybe people know your business or other people that you didn't know are coming into your family. It's very vulnerable. And so you and your spouse talk with each other and decide, where is the boundary? How far do we go?
How far do we let people in? You know, what do they need to know? Sometimes people don't need to know everything. And one of the things that we had were some boundaries, because I'm a private person, really. And so I talked to you about how I felt. And I know that some people are open and they don't feel like it's wrong to say this or to say that to other people outside of the home. But there's some people like me who are kind of private and they don't want a lot of people knowing everything that they've gone through or what they're thinking or how they feel.
And I think that was good because I had like a close relationship with my dad. So I was just talking, blah, 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 blah. And I know that you didn't like that, like everything.
No.
You know, you were like, why are you sharing every single thing?
Yeah.
And I had to learn, you know, not to have your name in my mouth all the time, talking with my dad.
So I have to say that I actually love your father. He's a great man, and I met him the same day that I met you. So, you know,
I don't think it was personal. That is the type of person you are.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn that. You know, I had to understand that it wasn't me. It wasn't like you were trying to block me.
No.
From having this relationship, but I had to have a different boundary and way that I go about the relationship with my father, because I am not a single woman anymore.
Yes. And I love your father and I love you. The thing is knowing the order of the relationship.
Yeah.
And that's something that we had to talk about for
it was
this relationship.
It was a boundary.
It was a boundary.
And I think in my case, I felt like some women had too much access to you.
Yeah.
You know, like they're calling you.
I think they did, actually.
I thought your ex was calling you a lot.
Yeah.
I was just like, you're not even talking about the kids. I thought, you know, different women were talking to you a lot.
Yes.
And it probably was because
they were.
They were allowed to do that when you were single.
Yes. When I was divorced and I didn't have anyone in my life, everybody basically had access to me. And not that I wanted that to happen, but that's what happened. You know?
So we had to talk about that. Like,
yes. So I had to cut people off.
Yeah.
You know?
Or limit how much you're communicating with people. That could be family members. It could even be with children. You know, I have seen people tell their grown children way too much things.
Yeah.
Because they've had that relationship with them this whole time. They were single and they were communicating with their child and letting them know all of what was going on in their life. And now they're remarried, and that person, the spouse, doesn't want all of that out in the streets.
No. Usually they want a little bit of peace in their home, and they want the boundary of the protection and covering of, you know, we're not going to tell everybody what's going on with us, because nobody wants to feel exposed.
Right. And the kids may already be telling too much out here with, you know, telling on you to your ex or telling what happened.
I think after a divorce, that's probably the main thing, is that no biological parent wants their child to go back to the ex talking about what's going on in their household.
And they do.
Yeah.
Kids do that.
They do talk. Or they're probed to do that.
They're probed to do it.
Yeah.
They may mention it. It sometimes the other parent doesn't want to hear it. Other times the other parent is, like you said, probing them and wanting. And it just can cause a feeling of just like, you just feel uncovered. I think that's what you feel like. And so remarriage has that feeling, I think, even more than a marriage.
So basically you have to create that covering by having a communication, having boundaries and discipline all wrapped up together.
And being emotionally mature enough to handle when somebody
comes to you and
says, hey, I don't want you talking to your parent that much.
Yeah.
And this is why.
I've heard people say, well, this is my sister, this is my mom. I'm close to my mother.
Or this is my best friend.
Yes, I've heard
That probably
of
is the biggest one.
Yes.
My best friend. But best friends don't trump
a marriage. They don't trump your marriage.
And with a remarriage, you have to really set boundaries that you both can agree on. And that's going to be hard because it is going to shift relationships. It's going to shift the order.
And I want to say, in our opinion, your spouse comes before everyone else.
If you want your remarriage to work.
If you want it to work, then you're going to put your spouse first before your kids, before your ex, before your family, before your mom, your dad.
Yeah, we're not saying that in a way where...
You're not disrespecting those people.
Right.
We're not saying to
ignoring
disrespect.
them.
Yeah, don't ignore them.
Or treating them
badly.
No.
We're not saying that, but we are saying that the spouse
is just elevated.
Yes, they're elevated.
Is that it? Yeah. Both of you are number one, the only one in each other's life.
See, and that's another thing we talk about is
that's a whole nother topic.
It's another topic, but we say that you're the only one, not number one, because that means there's a number 2, 3, 4, and 5.
So you have to really focus in on you two being the we, this is our home, this is how we do things. The consistency and that unification, being emotionally mature to handle that and to create something new and together.
Yeah. So topic number 3 is create new traditions and bonding opportunities.
And this is the fun one, I think, you know.
New traditions.
Yes, and this can be tricky though.
Yes.
Only because a lot of times 2 families and 2 people will bring their old traditions to each other.
Yeah, and they say this is a new thing we're going to do, but it's actually an old tradition with new people. We're talking about doing something actually new to you and new to your spouse in your household together.
Right.
And then, it's a new tradition.
Building upon that. Because let's say you always had this, I'm just picking like a Christmas tree lighting ceremony and you want to do that. You and your kids want to do that with your new spouse.
Yes.
And your new spouse had like some tragic thing happen where the Christmas tree caught on fire or something. You don't know. You don't know what happened. And they really do not want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and you're just sitting there like, I've done that my whole entire life.
Well, sometimes people have their traditions, but others have gone through, like you just said, tragic moments in that type of
or it
tradition.
Triggered something.
Have a trigger.
Christmas was the time that their parents got divorced.
Yeah.
Christmas was the time they got divorced. Whatever it is, then you have to be willing to
be sensitive too.
Yeah, to want to create something new. Yeah. Like, you know what, honey, I don't forget the lighting of the Christmas tree tradition.
Yeah.
I don't care that I've done that every single year of my life. You are more important and we can make Coco something. What do you want to do?
Yeah, we're going to do something different.
Yeah.
And that's where communication comes, into play. Talking about the things that have happened to you, to your spouse, so that they understand you from the inside.
And doing that, best believe, makes a wonderful time for the 2 of you because you're not just imposing on them. They feel a part of it.
Yes.
And I think this is important for men to hear because I think men are more likely to just accept a tradition. They may not speak up about it. Do you think that men are more likely to just accept something that the wife wants to do? You know how the happy wife, happy life thing?
Yeah. And I think yes, that men do that to create happiness or peace more so in their home. But I have to say that
they should speak up.
They should speak up and have a new tradition. Sometimes you have to go through the fire to have this beautiful, other side in your relationship. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes you have to speak up and tell your wife, I love you. And yes, I do like that, but this is why I would prefer not to engage in that activity.
Yes, or whatever it is. Yeah. And ladies, we need to be understanding that everything in our old life may not be exactly the way we're going to have it in our new life. And you both work on that. There's ways to do it and
be sensitive to each other's emotional
Right.
state.
And also with the kids. So if you're in a blended family, this is important too. You can have like a game night that you guys do something together that you didn't do before, and especially be sensitive to the spouse that didn't have children. Maybe there's one spouse that has children and one spouse that does not. And you're blending a family, and the one with children is like, we always do this.
Because the kids like that.
And you do want to have some consistency, but you just want to be mindful if your spouse enjoys that. You used to always tell me there's something that we both will like. I may not like this and he doesn't like that, but you'd always tell me,
let's be patient. And then there's something that's out there that we both
will
like.
So your goal in a remarriage is to find that thing that you both like, to find that new thing that your kids like, to find that new experience that you all can have together
and enjoy. Yeah, because there's lots of experiences out here. There's lots of products, lots of things that people can do. There's lots of places you can go. We don't always have to go to this one place right here because one person likes it. If one person is satisfied in the relationship, it's not necessarily a relationship. It's just like we're doing this for that one person.
Yes.
But like we just said, there are things that you can do to have new traditions that you both will like. And I'm not talking about you're compromising. It's like, yeah, I kind of like it. No, you actually like this thing.
Yeah, because let's say, here's an example. I know that Larry and Cherry have had this situation, but Larry likes to go to the cigar lounge, and he used to go with his wife, his ex-wife, all the time. They would go and they enjoyed it. That was something that they did together. But Cherry doesn't smoke at all. And so now they're finding something to have to do. And Larry likes to go to he likes to go to the cigar lounge. So what they came up with is that he would just go with his guy friends to the cigar lounge, but maybe not as often. And then they found something that they both like to do together.
Yeah.
And that kind of replaced that Friday night. Whenever he was going, he went to the cigar lounge at another day, but that date night time that he thought that he needed, they did something together that they both agreed upon. Mm-hmm. And that's just with communication. So you don't feel like you have to stop doing everything that you used to do, but you're kind of like shaping it in a different way for your new life.
Yeah, because I think that some people think there's either or. And why can't we have and?
Yeah.
I can do this and that in my remarriage.
Exactly.
And the and part is not a bad thing. It's something that I can agree with you that I am able to do and you're able to do,
And then there's something we can do together.
Exactly.
There's always something you can do together. Mm-hmm. Both of us are active.
Yes.
And it's like we've done this and tried this. So it was kind of like a little challenge for us to find something that we really liked to do that was new.
Yeah, we wanted to do something different, especially after, for us, moving to another place. You wanted to do pickleball.
Yeah, I presented it to you.
You presented it to me. Mm-hmm. I have never done that before.
And neither have I.
And so I decided, okay, we're in a new place. Let's do pickleball. Let's try it out. So we took a class. And we actually both liked it. And it was kind of addictive for us.
What's so nice about it is that it's a new activity that neither one of us has a history of doing with anyone else.
Yeah.
Not even our parents. Not our parents, not our kids. This is something that me and him, we were able to do, and we love it. And it's like our thing.
Yeah.
It's like our little thing we do.
So we don't have any weeds growing up because my ex used to do it. She hit the ball like that. And it's like, why don't you hit, why aren't you better? We were in a tournament
together.
Yeah.
Nobody feels like they're replacing someone or filling a slot. Yeah. And you can think that when, the person
having an old tradition.
Did an activity, and now you're the person that does the activity with them, but everybody remembers them with their spouse. Like, it doesn't make you feel special.
It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant and someone says, yeah, I've been here before.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, I'm going to go.
Yeah. We tried to do new things. Like, we really tried to find new restaurants that we liked. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were some that we just were like, look, we've been here before and we all love it.
Yeah.
And we just, that's going to happen. So that's fine. But like you said, it doesn't have to be an or, it could be an and.
Yes.
We like that. We've been to this place with other people before, but we
It's
also,
a good spot, though.
yeah, it's a good spot. And we have a new spot. So
Yes.
we're always trying to add that new tradition, new bonding opportunities that are just between me and him. And so we encourage you to find those things because they will help. They're like the little things that will help, you know.
Well, you'd be surprised at how much value a new activity or a new tradition will add to your relationship.
And I think one time we were going to try to do a cooking class, but it canceled on the day that we were going to do it. It was like a grilling cooking class.
Yeah, a chef was going to show us how to cook together and show this particular meal that we were going to like. And
we never did that before.
We never did it before.
We didn't get to do it.
And we still haven't done it yet.
We need to do that.
We need to put that on the list.
But like, let's say you both like art and you can do something, visiting an art show or
a particular
experiencing
gallery.
art, festivals. Maybe it's music that you bond over. Maybe it's whatever it is, and it's not something that the kids do. So let's be clear with that. Like, it's not, hey, we're going to their football game and that's our tradition. It has to be something that is between you and your spouse, that is brand new.
Well, you're trying to build that bond in the relationship and the tradition of the marriage first, and then you bring others into it.
Yeah. And even if like holidays, you may have always spent time at your grandma's house or at Aunt so-and-so's house. And this year, you're not going to do that.
This year, you're going to build your own traditions.
And you need to do that. One event is not worth your marriage, especially in the remarriage. We always encourage that you spend at least a couple years just getting to know each other. Just cancel everyone else.
Well, the thing is,
it's like, no, I'm not able to go there.
Well, sometimes I do think that you have to pass and say, no,
not this year.
Not this year. Not right now. This isn't the right time. It isn't the right season. It isn't.
I'm in bonding season right now.
I'm bonding with my spouse. And if people who are married can understand that, then that's great. And those who don't understand it, then you can take a look at that and find out, where they should be placed in your life, in your relationship.
And people who care about you and people who want you to
succeed.
To succeed in your marriage will totally understand. Like, oh yeah, they may even ask if you need something. Like, do you want me to bring something over or whatever it is you're doing? You'll be surprised at how much support that you can receive when you pick your marriage first.
Yeah. This
has been a great dialogue of talking about things to improve your remarriage, because that's ultimately what we want to do. And in those things, it'll also improve your blended family. It'll really spill into every area of your life.
Yeah, when you improve the relationship between the two of you, and for men, again, it's not like a therapy session. It's the fact that you chose this woman, you want to get to know her, you wanted to have a great, peaceful home. So be a part of that, just
definitely
do something different. Just open up yourself to her and let her in.
And speak life into your relationship.
Speak life into your relationship. We have a great relationship. I have a great wife. We have a great time. I have a great household. Everything is great. You just talk like that. You do have to change some of your past thoughts if you are a negative person and start to be able to say, I am great. We have good things going on. I have something.
Yeah. And sometimes being a negative person is not all of who you are. It's just because it's a result of the situation you
may have gone through.
And that residue is still on you. That's something that we had said.
Shake that dust off. Yeah. It's a new time for you.
Let's quickly recap what we talked about today.
So the first thing we talked about was strengthen communication and unity. And then the second thing we talked about was build consistent discipline and boundaries.
And the third thing was creating new traditions and bonding opportunities. And we hope that you have found some nuggets. And if you have anything else that helps your remarriage, please leave it in the comments. Let us know how your remarriage improves.
If this podcast has helped you navigate past hurts, build stronger blended families, or grow your remarried love, consider supporting us. Your contribution keeps new episodes coming and spreads hope to couples who need it most.
Here's how you can help.
Click the support link in the show notes. Choose the amount that works for you, whether it's monthly or one time, and know that every dollar goes right back to creating the kind of content that helps couples just like you.
It's an easy way to invest in stronger marriages and thriving families. Thank you for being a part of this journey.
If this episode is helping you, give us a like, subscribe to the podcast,
and share Remarried Love with someone you know that is looking for this type of resource.
And we want you to know that you can have a happy, healthy remarriage.
See you in the next episode.